Ladies and gentlemen, I have been asked by the Imperial Jedi to check out his ranking every Wonder Weapon worst to best. He brings up some great gameplay of the Wonder Weapons in some pretty high rounds, and so I think this is going to be an interesting video to see how the Wonder Weapons actually perform when they're tested. So let's get it done, baby. I'm excited.
We're going to rank every Wonder Weapon from worst
yes,
to best.
sir.
This is going to be
Treyarch only? Okay.
The only Wonder Weapons I didn't rank in this list were...
I would love for somebody to actually do a non-Treyarch version at one point as well, because those Wonder Weapons, for the majority, from what I've seen, are trash, most of them.
The Gauntlets from Ancient Evil,
okay.
The Scavenger in VR11 from Call of the Dead,
okay.
and the Raygun Mark II variants from Alpha Omega.
Okay.
This is because I never really played those maps, so it wouldn't be fair for me to rank those.
That's fair.
First-hand knowledge of the weapons. But
it doesn't even matter with BO4 because ultimately the Wonder Weapon of that game is the Helion Salvo.
Anyways,
so
let
it's
me
all
know
good.
What your lists are in the comments below.
Let's get her done.
What you think about my list, and without
yes,
further ado,
sir.
let's get into it.
Y'all know my list.
At the number 33
yes.
spot, the worst Wonder Weapon ever in zombies is the jet gun.
So what's interesting is this is the worst Wonder Weapon. I have actually learned to use this Wonder Weapon. I got to round 100 on transit. It took almost 12 hours, and like I learned how to use this thing effectively. And even when you do, it took me like 30 hours to learn how to use this thing effectively. It's still trash. Like, it's basically an upgrade for your Galva Knuckles at the end of the day because of how many times you have to melee just to use it effectively without dying. So yes, statistically, it's amazing, but in practicality, it took 30 hours for me to use. It's absolutely garbo.
I didn't even
terrible.
Bother getting footage for this piece of trash.
Oh, it's garbo.
It's just not even worth it, bro.
Just go to any of my Trans 100 streams, bro. Yeah,
and even
it's
though
trash.
It has unlimited ammo, it does break after a short amount of usage, where if you want...
Like, it is easy to prevent it from breaking, but using it effectively literally requires you to use a glitch. And I don't think Treyarch ever intended it to be a thing, you know?
Again, you'd have to go back and collect all the parts again through the fog and endure denizens mauling your face.
Everybody wanted this thing as well, literally, to be the best thing ever, like the Thunder Gun, and it was the worst.
Not wasting my time, so I make sure to avoid this damn thing at all costs whenever I decide.
That's why most people don't play Transit anymore. The Wonder Weapon sucks.
Spot on this list, we got the Tundra Gun from Togder Toten. The Tundra Gun is so bad because it spits out snowballs that can deal damage to yourself, especially if you're in a close quarter situation.
So I've actually watched a video basically saying that the Tundra Gun got a massive buff, which is true. However, it apparently is infinite damage now, but here's the issue with the Tundra Gun, right? The issue with this weapon is exactly what you said. You still need PhD Flopper for this to even be effective. And it's like, to me, like, while yes, there's other Wonder Weapons like that, like the Scavenger and whatnot, it just kind of falls flat. Why would I ever pick this up over the Thunder Gun? While yes, I think it deserves to be rated higher.
And this is why
PhD
is so crucial for this gun, but that just makes it even more dumb.
Yeah.
And just sucks. And not only that, but the fact that this Wonder Weapon is only really effective when the shots are directed at the ground rather than at the zombies themselves. I mean, come on, bro.
It's just the worst version of the Thunder Gun, and it really should not have been introduced into the climax of the Ether story. It's so true.
Thunder Gun for being able to free zombies, but it's not like there's another Wonder Weapon that can do that more effectively.
Yeah.
Which leads us to our number 31 spot, where we have the Winter's Howl.
Yes.
The Tundra Gun's older and slightly better.
So I actually think the Winter's Howl is much worse. Apparently, the Winter's Howl in BO4 also got a buff when you upgrade it. It does enough damage to be infinite damage against the zombies. Regardless, though, I think this thing is trash. Even in BO4, on Classified, you're not using this thing to get high rounds because the zombies are so fast. You're not. You know what you're using? You're using either the shield glitch or the Helion Salvo. So I still agree. Even the BO4 version, the BO1 version of Winter's Howl, it's terrible.
Everything the Tundra Gun
it's garbo.
Does, but better, since it doesn't deal splash damage
and
it does freeze the zombies.
So trash.
However, the damage does suck ass since it requires multiple shots to kill zombies.
It is technically infinite damage, but it's not actually viable. It's not a one shot. It's not like the Thunder Gun where it instantly blows them away. So it's still trash.
Past about round 20, even when upgraded. And it is iconic for how much of a shit weapon it is, but
it is iconic. That is true. It's because it released alongside Kino. That's why 5.
It was introduced on one of the hardest maps of all time.
Yes,
5.
sir. Love that map. Let's
For the
go.
number 30 spot, we have Voyage of Despair.
I respect this list. This Wonder Weapon blows. And I always tell people that when I went to Treyarch and I talked to Jason Lundell, I literally asked the guy, the man himself, why or if this was even the wonder weapon of the map. I always tell you guys this. Like, this wonder weapon to me felt so mid. I felt nothing with this. The damage is weak. There's 4 upgrades. They're easy to upgrade. I'll give it that. It's kind of a fun way to upgrade, but the damage is trash.
Fair. Now, I appreciate the
Why do they nerf this stuff in a PvE mode?
However, the practical use of it is just straight trash.
That was garbage.
It becomes a 2-shot to kill a zombie by round 25, I believe.
That's terrible.
I haven't played Voyage in forever. Can you blame me?
Literally, even though you get the poison variation or the lightning variation or the ice variation, you do the grand staircase strat, and it's trash. Like, you still have to spam shots, especially on Blight Fathers, to even take them out.
This ranking is for all
specialist
the
weapons better.
Krakens, including the base version. So overall, it's just not a great wonder weapon.
It really
and
is not.
Honestly, you're better off just using the Helion Salvo.
Absolutely.
But at number 29 is the Blunder
Dang.
from Mob of the Dead. It pains me to put this.
It is so true.
As the unpacked version of the gun, it is not
it's trash.
The best, and
yeah.
It only gets you to the 30s and possibly the 40s before it stops one-shotting zombies, which is going to burn through your ammo.
And you need dead shot. You need to be hitting headshots. The multiplier of the Blundergat on the head is amazing, but yeah, the unupgraded is not going to carry you that far.
The packed versions are much better, as they should be.
Yes.
But for a standard wonder weapon, it's not terrible. But
I do say, though, the upgrade, like the Acid Gat and the Magma Gat, are genuinely one of the best wonder weapons ever, because they don't infinitely kill, but they have the distraction effect, which is even more important, in my opinion.
It's just also not the best. And coming in at the number 20 spot is the Sliquifier from...
It's sad, because, listen, I think this wonder weapon could have been number 1. It really could. The Sliquifier at 28 hurts, but the thing is that because it doesn't damage after round 100, yeah, it sucks. It sucks. And you have to do a specific strategy. But if you had the pre-patch, I'd argue this wonder weapon is number 1. You know? So now, controversial pick, but true.
At number 1, no
literally,
doubt, since a single shot can end the whole round, which is insane to think about.
No other wonder weapon to this day has ever done that. The Sliquifier, in its fullest capability, was the best wonder weapon of all time, period.
But since we're talking about post-patch Sliquifier, it's safe to say it is one of the worst wonder weapons, especially since single shots to zombies last only in the early rounds, and it becomes a slip and slide gun for the remainder of the game.
Yeah.
Another negative would be the splash damage it deals, especially if the player has a red screen and is about to down. It's sad to see this beloved weapon so far down on this list, but it only makes sense since we live in a post-patch Die Rise world.
True. If only there was a map called Die Rise Remastered releasing an upgradable version of the Sliquifier. If only, man.
But number 27
if only, bro.
The Wrath of the Ancients.
Dang! The Wrath of the Ancients above the Slick? Okay, I disagree with that. But I think it's an interesting pick because I get what he's saying in terms of practicality. Yes, the Wrath of the Ancients is actually way better than the Sliquifier in practicality because you can actually spam shots and be all right. Sliquifier, there's a lot of lead time towards the zombie actually dying after your shot. So I get that.
I'm strictly talking about the base version of the bow, by the way.
Even the base is better than Sliquifier for survivability.
And has
yes.
a mid ammo amount.
60's all right.
Really only used as a temporary weapon until the player gets one of the upgraded versions.
Right.
I personally don't use the Wrath of the Ancients for my whole game on DE.
I mean, you're a madman if you do.
And I can't imagine people do.
You're literally a madman if you do.
Listed.
Yeah.
And that is why it comes in at number 27. The Death of Orion from 9 is at the
Dang. I respect that you put this so down low because while yes, this gun is infinite damage, the issue with this gun is that it's slow to kill. It is so bad at the higher rounds. Again, this is another wonder weapon that in my opinion, if the damage was actually infinite and took very little time, you would be seeing this wonder weapon near the top. It's just another sad case of BO4 nerfing. You know, really sad.
This wonder weapon is quite unique and can be fun to use. It has a primary shot of electricity that is able to be charged up to...
I say it's better to use with that glitch tech where you like spam it and then reload it at the same time. And then literally you're able to take out all the boss zombies on 9. It's incredible, but that's about it.
Deal more damage.
It's the only reason it's useful.
As well as it cause a chain effect of electricity through a horde, similar to the fire coming out of the Ark of the Covenant from Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's actually so true.
Treyarch came up with a unique wonder weapon to fit 9's aesthetic. However, I just wish it was more powerful and could be at a higher spot on this list.
Like, it's so cool. The upgraded version gets purple and all that, but it's just like the damage and the charge up time and the crosshair. Look how big this crosshair is, bro. What were they thinking?
What were they thinking? At number 25.
Wow.
I'm probably going to get a lot of angry comments, but I don't care. Because
I think it's interesting that you put this above so many weapons. I personally don't agree with this spot. However, also, I don't know where the VR11 is either. If you're going to include the Modern Warfare 3 one, that'll be interesting. But the ray gun Mark 1 is still just a great survivability weapon, right? Like, there's weapons that you would want earlier on in the rounds that would be better than some weapons that have infinite damage, right?
Was in the older games like Black Ops 1.
Yes.
It has fallen off tremendously.
It has fallen off.
To other wonder weapons that completely.
The thing is, though, is that it's not that it's fallen off in its statistics. It's fallen off because of how many other wonder weapons there are that are leagues better. That's the only reason why. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ray gun, and it was always my go-to from the box
for
in
real
earlier games. But its damage caps out too soon against zombies around.
But then the Cold War ray gun came back and updated it, so it's like that's a thing. It's interesting. You got to choose which one you want to talk about because I mean the Cold War ray gun is so much fun to use, man.
On 40 or 50-ish, which makes it useless for high round runs. I love you, Raygun, but you have been outclassed by significantly better weapons on this list, which leads us
it's
to
so
number
true.
24.
Even the Boomhilda upgraded, you could make a case is better than the Raygun Mark 1, which is so sad.
Spot. Coming in at number 24, we have the
Alistair's Folly
from Dead of the Night.
So is this the unupgraded?
Is essentially a slightly better version of the Raygun Mark 1 since it does one-shot zombies up until round 20.
If this is the unupgraded, I agree. With the upgraded, though, I would disagree. Because the Alistair's Annihilator, where you get 4 elements in the same wonder weapon, is infinite damage. It cooks.
Which is an improvement to the ray gun's drop off on rounds like 18 to 22.
Yeah.
It does have splash damage, however, like the ray gun.
The base version's pretty good.
Magazine capacity, which is why I said that it's slightly better.
In my opinion, this is the ray gun of the Chaos Zombie storyline. It literally is because it's a ray gun and it's also a 4 elemental wonder weapon all at once. It's quite interesting that Blundell was able to create something like this.
However, it is a more ideal wonder weapon to have if you're planning on getting to high rounds, since it will take you further with one-shotting until you eventually have to rely on your Helion, Salvo, and Specialist.
True. I don't agree with this list statistically, but I do agree with this list in practicality and survivability. That's where I think this list is actually really doing a great job.
Overall, though,
this is a great video, Imperial.
And deserves its spot at number 24. The Ray K84 from
yes.
comes in at number.
Listen, bro, this is another infinite damage wonder weapon, but after all the nerfs Treyarch did to this on Firebase, bro, where you have to literally swap the weapon alternate ammo types all the time, this thing is garbo. I agree.
This may seem
trash,
but the Ray K84 is a more refined version of the previous 2 wonder weapons, since it's essentially an AR version of the.
It's basically the Ray Gun Mark IV, but it just feels so clunky to use. I don't know.
And deals no splash damage to the player.
Yeah, the no splash damage is nice.
And 50 rounds when upgraded in the magazine, and has a secondary fire option, which provides a Gersh type of thing. And when it's shot at with the primary fire, it explodes, killing all the nearby zombies.
Yeah.
Now, this is a useful ability, especially if you're in a close quarters environment.
It is, but just the time delay between switching and alternating the modes on the gun is ridiculous. Right when this map launched, this wonder weapon would be so much better if they just kept it like that. Especially but they ruined it, man.
Buffed back to its launch status where it can
now
one-shot an entire horde with the explosive rounds, regardless of...
Yeah, see, the damage is back, but it's just like they messed up the gun switching. It's just, it feels too clunky still to use.
Round number. It's really, really great, and that's why it comes in at number 23.
Yeah.
At number 22, we have the Wunderwaffe 2.
It's crazy, because if you were to show this to someone in 2008, they would look at you like you're insane. But it's true, man. Infinite damage doesn't always mean everything, because this is such a great point. Wunderwaffe is infinite damage, but it only takes out 10 zombies at a time. Like, is that... Look at Call of the Dead with the Wunderwaffe. Does it really game change the high round capability? Not really, man.
Now, this is a classic
true.
weapon, and it's just as iconic as the ray gun. It has unlimited damage and can take the player to high rounds. However, it only electrocutes about 10 zombies at a time. With the low magazine count, even when upgraded, it makes it difficult to get through those high rounds unless you use gobblegums.
Or traps or anything else. Literally, the Waff is not really as reliable as a lot of people used to think it was.
It does have immense splash damage, so that does drag it down.
You could die with it in World of War.
Wonder weapon to use for a fun game of zombies.
Yeah, for real.
At the number 21 spot is going to be the Firebow from Dreisendrach.
I respect this. The Firebow is the worst upgraded bow. This is absolutely correct.
Arguably the worst version of the upgraded bows.
Yeah.
Since it is not great at killing zombies. However...
And it causes a bunch of game errors. And that's why I also respect when people talk about game glitches and errors, because in my opinion, those matter as much as the statistics of the weapon. If I use the Fire Staff and it's causing me game errors, it's a trash wonder weapon, period. I don't care if that was the intentional design or not. Obviously, it wasn't, but it's just the way it is, so that's the way I'm going to say it. you know?
It does help to kill the Panzer, but honestly, at that point, you'd just be better off with using the other bows.
The
or
Void
just a
bow's
tiny
better for
KRM.
Panzer. Yeah, or
The
KRM.
DIE
Legit.
Shockwave comes in at number 20. The
Hey!
base version of this weapon upgraded is the best, which is funny because the
It's true. This is the best version, and also it isn't even that great because every Thundergun type shot you get with this is 15 bullets, so you only technically get 4 total. You can suck up the zombies, but when they're so fast, you can only really use this weapon with Ring of Fire, which is why I respect this placing too. Like, we're not basing this off a damage point. It's practicality, and this is spot on.
other
in my
elemental
opinion.
versions are worse, yet they are harder to achieve.
Exactly.
It's a solid
Yeah.
wonder weapon and can get you to high rounds relatively easy. And you could say that it has unlimited ammo for being able to suck up the zombies for extra ammo, but when you get to higher rounds, it just takes a shit ton of time to suck up the zombies.
Exactly.
To the point where it just becomes almost impossible.
Even with Ring, it becomes incredibly difficult. It's just like, that's the type of balancing that I really hope they nail out in Call 4, man.
Now, coming in at the number 19 spot on the list is going to be the
KT4.
KT4 from Zetsubo no
Oh, everybody underrates the KT4. I think it's because of it's the map. It's Zetsubo no Shima. But KT4 is a legendary wonder weapon, especially when you upgrade it to Masamune. Infinite damage. It's got a ton of ammo and alchemical. I think people underrate this. This is the first one I disagree with. I get it. It's not super practical to use, so I do actually agree with that. But
Now, this weapon is pretty fun to use and does
it's
good
still
amounts of
very
damage
powerful.
against zombies
Yes.
as well as the Thrashers. And it is essentially a better version of the Liquefier, post-patch version, obviously.
yes.
It mainly just lacks enough
That is actually very true. It just isn't as continuous as the Silkifier, you know?
ammo for both the packed and non-packed versions, which
That's
is
true,
why
low
it
ammo.
comes in as a middle-of-the-road wonder weapon.
I'll respect that. In practicality situations, unless you're in the boss fight area spamming the one hallway that they can come through, I agree. That's a good
At
point.
number 18, we have the Void Bow. from
Void Bow?
Ragnarok.
Not a
One
bad
of the
spot,
reasons why
man.
many, including myself, avoid this bow, no pun intended, is because it is the most complex bow to upgrade, whereas you can get
Yeah, the
better
process
bows
is
for
too
less
difficult.
complicated steps.
Yes.
It is better at killing zombies
Treyarch needs to stop doing that. Why do they make the best bow the easiest quest and then the worst bow the hardest quest? Like, who does that benefit?
than the fire bow is. However, it just sucks at killing panzers. Let's be honest.
It really does.
So
it used to, but now it's actually much better. It is much better against the Panzers.
I guess there's some
Because it actually gives like a stun effect that the Apothecary Servant does to the Margwas. It's basically the same thing, but for the Panzers, which is really cool.
balance to that, I guess. It's just such a mid-wonder weapon and can be easily forgettable, especially
It
since
is easily
It
forgettable.
gets outshined by way better versions of the bows.
Yeah.
The original ray gun Mark II from Barry comes in at number
Yay.
17. This version
Listen, I would disagree with this before, but the headshot multiplier of this ray gun, it literally makes it the best ray gun ever to be released, apart from Ray K, because that is in Cold War mechanics, right? But in Mark II, it's the only ray gun that can actually still kill zombies past round 70 because of the headshot multiplier. So I actually agree. I think he's going to put Mark III above this, which I personally disagree. But for high rounding, Mark II is easily the best. Mark III does have more survivability, though, in the lower rounds. So, again, with the way he's ranked this, I agree,
version
man.
of the ray gun is arguably
So
the
interesting.
best. However, the reason why it is below the Mark III is because it simply starts dropping off in damage
Yes.
tremendously once you reach the 40s, even when upgraded.
Well, so, yes, but the difference is that it can still take out zombies way later on, right? That is the difference, whereas the Mark III simply cannot, right?
Which sucks because the Mark II runs out of ammo quickly because of that. And
Yes.
sometimes you can only
It does
like
run out
half
of
the
ammo
round
fast.
with all
That's,
the ammo,
that's true.
and the other half you'd have to depend on buildables or the paralyzer. So this is why it comes in at number 17.
That's a fair
For the number
spot.
16 spot, it's going to be the
Yeah,
regular
put
Mark
it just
III
right
from
above.
Rogue
That's
Krogan.
fair.
This is the more improved
Yeah.
version of the Mark II, I mean, as it should be, hence it being the Mark III. It now features a dual-wield setup, with the right being a traditional ray gun.
I wish this was infinite damage. In my opinion, again, this is another wonder weapon Treyarch just effed over for no reason. There's no reason why half these wonder weapons we've covered in this video aren't infinite damage.
And the left being an
Seriously.
energy cannon that shoots yellow balls of
It's
energy that you can then
ridiculous.
shoot with your ray gun to activate a sort of Gersh device, which is a really cool idea and does work well up to about rounds 50 through 60. then it becomes essentially useless by itself for killing zombies. But if you have a gun with dead wire, then you'll be fine since it'll stall them for a short while.
It's mainly just used for the bosses at the end of the day, you know. I'm curious how Mark III would be played on other zombie maps, because even if you put it on other BO3 maps, I feel like it would be useless, to be honest, you know.
At the number 15 spot, we have the
Chrysalax
from Forsaken.
Hey.
This is probably going to give me some hate in the comments, but after reviewing this wonder weapon further, it really is a decent weapon and has amazing abilities like being able to turn from an...
This is like the redeeming factor of Forsaken for me is the Chrysalax. It is an amazing wonder weapon. The issue I have with this thing, though, is that after a certain point, it just does nothing. It's kind of like this liquefier where it just gets hard capped just because of how fast the zombies are. But I actually agree with putting it above everything we've seen so far.
An axe into a
I agree.
handheld SMG.
Other than maybe like
Good,
KT4.
but it starts falling off damage-wise at around round 70 for the axe swinging and around like 50 to 60 for the SMG variant. Probably sooner. I can't recall.
And pre-patch, this thing was a monster. Why they nerfed weapons in a PvE mode? I'll never understand, bro.
Somewhere around.
I'll never understand.
Overall, it's a fun and unique weapon to use, and I'm glad Treyarch added this to close off Cold War instead of just reusing old assets like the ray gun or thunder gun like they did in Alpha Omega and Togder Toten.
Legit.
Now, coming in at the number 14 spot is the...
I'd put this one higher just because of how good it is against Brutus and the distraction effect. But again, it depends on the map you're on, right? Because with this map, you just spam traps.
Magmagat
It's
from
so
Blood
funny, right?
Again, this may give me some hate, but honestly, after going from around 100 several times on Blood a little while ago, it only is useful as being a distraction against the zombies when you head into round 60 plus.
And taking out Brutus. It's good for Brutus too.
Which makes you have to rely on your specialists as well as your other weapons.
True, but I mean, that's all of BO4. You're always relying on your
It is
specialist.
still a solid variant of the Blundergat, and I'd still use it for my round 100 blood attempts if I were to ever do that again.
Yeah.
The wave gun from Moon comes in at our number 13 spot. This is another...
I wish this was a little higher, and I get it, though, because this wonder weapon doesn't make drops. That is the worst part about the wave gun. It's such a cool-looking wonder weapon, such a powerful wonder weapon, such great area of effect, but just trash when it comes to drops.
Weapon that definitely deserves the hype, especially since it was the first wonder weapon to switch into 2 variants, I believe.
Literally,
the dual-wield version is good for the early rounds, but starts to drop off around...
People called the wave gun when it first launched like the ray gun Mark II, literally, because this wonder weapon came out before the Mark II and BO2, man.
Round
literally, it was the original kind of like upgrade of the ray gun.
Using the wave gun variant, which is miles better anyway. The only thing is that the ammo is quite low, even when packed.
Ammo is very
honestly,
low.
I think it's a good balance because if it had a lot more ammo, it would probably make this weapon a little too overpowered.
I agree, and especially with all chemical, it would be ridiculous.
At number 12, we have the
Wind Staff.
I believe this is the worst staff since it has the lowest ammo count of the 4 and does the lowest amount of damage.
I think this answer changes between BO2 and BO3 because interestingly enough, I just posted a video on my main channel talking about how the staffs on different maps literally become better or worse, like with Town with the fire zombies or Shadows of Evil with which staffs affect the Margwas or not. And so I think staffs are always going to be objective. However, I do think the Wind Staff is worse on BO3, and I definitely hope that he puts Ice Staff at number 1 because the damage on that is statistically just better than everything. And in my opinion, it has a freeze effect. Like, stun is everything in COD Zombies, you know?
I will give it credit, though, for being fairly easy to build and upgrade, especially if you have good RNG and are able to get it before the Panzer spawns in round 8.
True.
But again,
it's hard to get as well, which you know what, I respect that he puts that in. In a practical sense, yeah.
There are better
Lightning Staff's way easier to get
from, and I know I wouldn't make the Wind Staff my go-to when playing a game of Origins.
Yeah, and it also can glitch out a lot as well. Wind Staff and Fire Staff are very glitchy. Then Lightning, then Fire, then Ice. Okay, I respect this. I respect this.
Which is the Lightning Staff.
Yeah.
Now, it could be argued that Wind is better, but I'm here to tell you that Lightning is superior due to its
the unupgraded is so good.
Count.
Yes, and the ammo.
To both zombies and panzers.
It's just the upgraded shot sucks. But the other thing also is like, again, keep in mind the Fire Staff causes glitches late game, so it's like almost for high rounders, it's practically unusable, right? But again, we're talking practicality here, so I don't know, man. I find the Lightning Staff honestly more useful than the Fire Staff sometimes. I would probably put the Lightning higher just for a practicality standpoint, you know.
And it also is able to take you to higher rounds as a result, and which is why it comes in at number 11. For
That's
number
fair.
10, we have
Okay.
Fire Staff. Again,
Not a bad tier list for the staffs here.
and
Yeah,
it's
for
a better
fire
version
than
of the
ice.
Wind and the
Yeah.
Lightning Staff. And even though it may not have more ammo
I'd agree with this if fire didn't have the glitches
than the
fully.
Lightning, when upgraded, it does make up for it in its damage to the zombies and panzers.
Yeah.
The charge shot especially is a great way to get out of trouble. It does start to drop off in its damage, however, around round 30 for the non-upgraded version and around round 40 through 50 for the upgraded version.
Yeah, the most of the staffs drop off way too early. Way too early.
And it is best to keep in mind that it is more ideal for single target damage than horde damage, which is why it comes in at number 10. Coming in
It's better for something like, in my opinion, like the Panzers. Baby gun at 9. Now, see, this is interesting because, well, yes, it's one of the best wonder weapons. I put it at number 2 on a damage standpoint because it actually is. In practicality, it's not that great because the shot area of effect is not that large. And so it does have a lot of ammo, but you're going to be spamming a lot of that ammo on like 1 or 2 zombies, you know? So in a practicality standpoint, I kind of agree with this.
Number 9
Baby
spot,
gun
we
at
have the
9?
Baby gun from
I
Shangri-La.
kind of agree with this.
This weapon is special because it is so unique and also because it technically deals unlimited damage to zombies. However,
Yeah,
it all
I
depends
agree
on
with
how
this.
quickly you can punt those baby zombies out of your way.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Because if you shoot the shot and don't take out the miniature zombies, you wasted the bullet. You wasted the bullet, literally. It's a very much of an opportune type of momentary wonder weapon. You have to literally hit it at the exact right time.
they'll down you instantly. If
It's not just click and it's done.
So it is
you
quite
know?
balanced in that way. However, the only drawback, like for most of these wonder weapons, is the ammo count.
Yeah.
At number 8, we have the Cerberus from
I respect that you put the Cerberus this high up because the unupgraded Cerberus, this thing is a beast. It's hard to rank it though comparatively to other zombie games because the Cold War mechanics are so different. But it goes to show this wonder weapon is literally amazing. Who cares about the upgraded variants? The unupgraded, this thing literally got me to round 100 first game of Mauer Tone, bro.
from Mauer
Has to be testament to the wonder weapon. And I agree, Cerberus is better than the Chrysalax.
Cold War because of
I'll
how
say it.
powerful it is, as well as
I'll
how
say it.
compact it is, making
I'll
it easy
say
to
it.
train the zombies while they're running at you full speed. It's also funny that the base version is the best version of the
Yeah.
weapon, but I guess Treyarch just wanted to make it easier for us, I guess. The ammo is pretty decent when packed, but unpacked it kind of sucks. The damage is great considering when it's
But I mean, you're going to spend all your points in Cold War and pack punching anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
packed 3 times,
know?
it can take you easily into the 60s, but after that, unless you use Ring of Fire, good luck killing the zombies, the disciples, and the panzers.
Legit.
For number 7, we have the Wolf Bow from Dreisendrach. It is one of the best
Respect.
bows, especially since
It's wild to me that I'll hear people say Wolf Bow mid. I'm like, have you played Dreisendrach high routes at all?
its charge shot does an
you
infinite
know what
amount
you're
of
talking
damage
about?
to the zombies, but to panzers, that's a whole other story. The only problem is
It's
that
such a
if
great
you
bow.
only rely on charged shots, it takes 2 arrows out of your ammo stock. This goes for
All
all of these,
chemical.
by the way, but I'm just mentioning it
Y'all
now,
need all chemical.
which means that you really only have about 37 shots with it before you
That's
run out of
true.
ammo.
Yeah.
This will obviously be a problem for the later rounds,
The uncharged shot, though, with the bow is kind of mid.
but overall, it's pretty
On
well
the wolf
balanced
bow.
and pretty easy to obtain when upgrading the base bow. Now, the Ice Staff
Yeah.
from Origins comes in at number 6.
Hey.
It is the best
I respect that you put the ice staff below the storm bow because I do think that the storm bow like has better tracking than the ice staff sort of tornado because the ice staff tornado just sort of sits wherever you shoot it, but the lightning staff targets and pre-patch storm bow. It was a game changer, bro. People were able to get to round 255 on Dreisendrach without Juggernog. That has to go to testament as to how good it is in a practicality standpoint.
staff in
You know,
Origins, and if you disagree, you're just wrong, bro.
you know, it's true.
Because this is what every speedrunner and high round player uses for the runs.
Yes.
It kills zombies and panzers at every round, especially when with its charged shot, which has an immense radius.
Panzers, it drops off on. That's why it's better just to get the Mark II on this map.
It has decent ammo when packed and can easily take it around 80 plus when used correctly.
Oh,
Now, cracking
yeah.
into the top 5, we have the Vitriolic Withering from Mob of
Respect that you put the acid gats up here. I know you put the Magmagat lower, but honestly, acid gat and Magmagat pretty much just do the same thing on different maps. That's why, to me, they should be up in top 5. They're literally some of the best wonder weapons ever because they know what they are. They're not infinite damage, but they do exactly what you need it to do, which is distract. And that's just the best. That's why everybody loves Awful Lot and Crossbow upgraded from Black Ops 1. Literally, it's like a wonder weapon.
the
Literally.
Dead. This is arguably the best version of the Blundergat since it is the most ideal distraction wonder weapon when playing either solo or co-op.
Yeah.
Especially since this single-handedly saved my ass when I would train in the showers and I was red screen. It is
I just hate that it damages you, you know?
the lifesaver,
You can't get
and although
PhD
it
either.
does not do mind-blowing damage to the zombies past round 40, it still does a decent amount where you can still kill them with a normal packed weapon or by using the Hell's Retriever / Redeemer. At number 4 is the Paralyzer / Petrifier from Buried.
Now this is so controversial because pre-patch I'd agree with this spot. But because it does nothing after round 70, honestly, I don't know if I can agree with this, man. Like, it does let you fly, though. So it's like, in a practical standpoint, no wonder weapons pushing the bar that the Paralyzer's setting, right? That's so fascinating that you put it here, man. Yet the Liquefier is so low, right? I find the damage drop-off on this thing practically to be unbearable. Like, you're only really using it for movement after round 70. And so, but the thing is like, it does what it needs to do. It's kind of like the Magmagat in that way. So it's like, in a practical standpoint, I can kind of agree with this, man.
I'm putting them together since they are essentially the same damage-wise, and
This
since
is
they
crazy.
both have unlimited
I agree
ammo.
with this.
However, of course, the Petrifier does not overheat as quickly. It is a great wonder weapon that could easily take you to round 70 plus if used correctly, especially.
This is a great list for practicality. It's actually such a great list in terms of how, like, a casual player or even a hardcore player would feel while using these wonder weapons throughout the rounds.
When you count in the fact that you have
It
many
nails
backups
that.
overheats, such as the dubstep machine and other buildables from Buried. For number 3, we have
Yes,
the
Stormbow.
Stormbow from
Classic.
Rock.
Yep.
It is the best bow of the 4 for DE and is the
You can turn off your brain while using this wonder weapon. Go read a book, go take a shower, go to Japan. You'll be all right.
easiest one to obtain, which is pretty funny. I appreciate how it is both a damage and distraction wonder weapon for the zombies. And the Panzers, since
I will actually also be uploading a Derision Drac bow tutorial, how to get all upgraded 4 bows, literally, in a new video in 8 minutes, because so many guides and tutorials for Black Ops 3 are super outdated. So if you guys would want any other tutorials like that for any other zombies map, let me know, because seriously,
it can
doesn't make sense
pick them
why there
up
isn't
with
one.
a tornado, and if you're on the lower rounds, it can kill them pretty instantaneously. It is ideal for speed runs, and it is somewhat ideal for high rounds until it eventually drops off in damage.
Yeah.
Now coming into our number 2 spot, we
Of course.
have the beloved.
This has to be top 2. I mean, it's point and click and they're gone. Literally. How could the Thunder Gun not be here?
Thunder Gun.
Yeah.
Man, this baby is so damn good. It is easily the best get the fuck out of my way wonder weapon.
Literally.
In zombies, hands
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
It is
Nothing
able to
comes
take
close.
out whole hordes in pretty much any round, as well as take out bosses such as Panzers and Margwas in Revelations. It is no wonder why so many people prefer this over the ray gun if they are
It's kind of sad we haven't seen this since, like, BO4. That is kind of sad. And even the one on BO4 doesn't even feel like the original Thunder Gun in BO3.
forced to choose
You know?
between them both. And finally, coming in at number 1 on our list, the best wonder weapon in all of zombies is the Apothecon Servant from Shadows of Evil.
Thank you that you put this here. I'm just glad. There will never be anything better than this, in my opinion, other than pre-patched Liquefier that you're about to see on Die Rise Remastered, personally. Like, you can't beat this unless you make a wonder weapon that one-shots a whole round. Period.
If you disagree,
Literally.
then you clearly have no idea how amazing this wonder weapon is, especially when it was the launch version of this weapon.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the launch version, this was
Pre-patch version as well, like the one you could get on Shadows as well. My
able to
goodness.
be packed on Shadows by doing, a secret little glitch.
Wouldn't you get like 20 bullets instead of 12? Like, you would get so many extra bullets. It was such an amazing glitch.
And it had a shit ton of ammo, and the shots lasted for upwards of 15 to 20 seconds each,
Yeah.
maybe even longer, but that's what I remember.
You would shoot down like 5 and end around, bro. It was insane.
But even though, even the post-launch version is amazing, especially since you can upgrade it on Revelations and receive more ammo.
Yeah.
However, it's not as much as launch, but regardless, it's still
I agree. I wish they never took that out. To me, that was one of the worst decisions they ever did.
easily gets you to high rounds.
They ruined
and
so
Saul's
much
Mark
community
was
hype
long
from
enough
that.
for you to kill them with other weapons, gobblegums, and whatever else you have in your arsenal. So
Yeah.
there you have it.
Ladies and
Every
gentlemen,
weapon in Treyarch Zombies is
great,
the best.
great
If you guys
video.
enjoyed this video, then
Yes.
Make sure to leave a like.
While I don't agree with this video, in terms of statistics, like I said, it makes perfect sense in terms of practicality. Make sure to check out Imperial Jedi, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see y'all in that next one, baby.